for today's call was essentially the financial literacy and the Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? So who has it? Who doesn't? I know Alex has it because he sent that screenshot.
It's free on YouTube.
You got it on YouTube?
Yeah, I can
Deadass.
send a link.
Good. Beautiful.
YouTube.
Did you throw the link for YouTube in here?
I can if you want.
Yeah, toss it in. For anybody that doesn't want to spend the money, fucking toss it in.
Yeah, I bought that shit off of Amazon.
Yeah, I bought it on Audible and I got it on Amazon, so I have another paperback cop coming.
I feel like the paperback
read
is better though, because then you get to
right?
highlight and write shit down. So
Exactly. Paperback is where I typically go to. The last Rich Dad Poor Dad book I had, I actually gave to one of my buddies, so I need another copy of it. But I have the audiobook and then I have it on books on my phone too. So wherever you pick up, you can fucking leave off another platform. For those who have it, who actually got into it outside of Alex? Because I know this motherfucker's listening.
Yeah, I did.
Got
Got
through
already-
like 2 chapters.
Facts. Okay, good. So did you guys read the beginning, the acknowledgments, or no? You guys skipped right to chapter 1.
No,
I
I,
read the
I,
acknowledgements.
I heard it.
Facts. So what were the three? I'm just like quizzing right now because these three things are probably the most important things that if you understand it, beautiful. If you don't, when it clicks, it's going to change the way you view money. What were the three things that the rich dad said in the acknowledgments? They were like his three rules or the three differences. What do the wealthy do that make them wealthy?
Make money work for them.
Yep. They don't trade time for money.
Or they don't work for money.
Yes. They do not work for money. They make money work for them.
Mhm.
All right. And I'm going to expand on that once we get into it, but there's two more main ones. There's a million throughout the book, but there's two more main ones.
The one where he's like, don't work for under someone, or like work for yourself almost. That one.
In a way, there's a better way to word it.
Thinking without your emotions was like a big kind of a theme I noticed.
Huge theme. So I'm going to focus on the money making one because that's all we can remember. And I also said I wasn't touching on this today. I said I was going to touch on it Sunday. So we had a full week. Also, Sunday is Super Bowl fucking Sunday. So if some of you guys are with family and shit and you guys are doing stuff early in the day, I completely understand. I'm still going to be having the call because to be honest with you, football's cool. I don't give a fuck enough to change my routine for it. So I'm still be on the call. I'm not changing anything up. So Sunday, we're going to actually go into it and I'll have structured questions for you and answers to teach you guys everything. But I do expect you guys to know what I'm talking about on Sunday. Today, I'm just kind of seeing who did what early. The biggest thing is the wealthy you don't work for money. Time does not equate to money, right? So the main lesson in that on the surface is that if you equate time to money, you only have a limited, finite amount of time. Money is unlimited. You can print as much as you want. You can make as much as you want. You just got to understand where it flows. Something that is finite cannot equal something that is infinite. That makes sense? They cannot be the same. All right. You cannot equate time to money. All right. If you're working a job, you're making 25 an hour. If you are tattooing and you charge hourly, 200 an hour, you know you're only making 200 an hour. You're still equating time to money, right? You are limiting how much you can make and you're limiting how much resources you have. Okay. What the wealthy do is they make money work for them, right? Or what I'll do, you guys work for money to buy things. I work for money to pay other people to do things for me. Can somebody tell me why I do that?
Gives you more time.
I'm buying back my time. Money's a tool, man. It's not the end result. If your end result is money, you're chasing the wrong thing. You need to chase a goal. That's why I did all the unrealistic goals. You need to chase the goal and understand how much money you need. You're not chasing the money. You're chasing the goal and money will come. Why? Because that money is what's going to afford you your dream. So when you guys are writing those goals and reverse engineering it, okay, I need to make $500 a day to hit this by 20. You understand you're not chasing the money. You're just allocating it so you can have the end goal. That makes sense? Right? Once you learn how to make money work for you, it's everything. The second thing, what I'm going to say, which I spoke to Lucas about when he was here, I blew Lucas's fucking mind, dude. We went to dinner like the way that me, RJ, and Lee went. We fucking went to dinner, spoke for a little bit, and he just asked business questions. And when I tell you he had no fucking idea some of the stuff I was talking about, it was cool seeing the light bulbs like go off in his head. I'm going to get into this like later on, but if I just get right into it, everyone's going to be confused. The only way you can make money. Okay. So the only way that you can make more money is by essentially providing a higher value service, right? So the only way Darius can charge more for his tattoos is having higher quality or having more of a reputation, essentially, right? So that's the only way he can charge more than what he does now. Okay. Once his quality goes up, the value goes up. How much people are willing to pay will also increase, right? You can make more money that way. Does it really matter if you make more money if when you pay taxes, your taxes rise too? Does it really matter if you make more money? Doesn't fucking matter. If you make $1,000 and they tax you at 20%, how much are they taking?
200.
200, right? Tax. Now let's say, hey, Darius just doubled his prices. He's in a new tax bracket. Now he's charging $2,000 a day. But guess what? He's being taxed 40%. What the fuck does that equate to? You're losing the same ratio. You make double, you're losing double. You get what I'm saying? The only way for you to be wealthy and rich, whatever word you want to use for now, I'm going to, strain that out. Whatever you want to use, you are going to lose any day of the week if you are paying everything to taxes. I gotta let my dog in because this motherfucker is just standing on the door right now. You're gonna lose more to taxes. If you lose more to taxes, you keep less. The only way for you to become wealthy is to keep more. And that's how you got to play the tax system. So long game, financially, long game. Trump, everybody, I touched this on the last one. Anybody who's super wealthy, they're in copious amounts of debt. Can somebody tell me why?
Pretty much buying assets, no? Putting their money into an asset of some sort.
Surface level. Yep.
That is actually your friend, but like you can't
Why?
be scared of
Why?
it, like
Can't tax
because
debt.
yeah, you can't tax that. You can't tax on a loan.
You cannot fucking tax debt. Now there's good debt and there's bad debt. And this is going to be the biggest lesson of your life because I know it seems like something that everybody knows when I tell you it's not. Dude, if you get in a room with 10 fucking people, you and one other person is going to know that. Nobody fucking knows that because people just walk along life and they don't fucking really take advantage of what this country, the structure and how it's set up. You cannot tax debt. So a real life example is you buy a house for $100,000, you hold it for a fucking year, right? The market goes up, it's worth $150,000. You have that mortgage for $100,000, right? You refinance because it's worth more. You can get a loan for what it's currently worth. Yo, chill the fuck out. You can get a loan for what it's really worth, right? Now you have a loan for $150,000. And what you're thinking is, why the fuck would I take out more money? I just have to pay off more money, right? Wrong. Again, let's use this as like it's a rental property, asset. An asset, okay. Asset and liability. Asset is something that puts money in your pocket. Liability is something that takes money out of your pocket, okay? The biggest fallacy in this country is that your house is your biggest asset. It's not. A house is a liability unless you have a tenant in it. Does that make sense? So in this sense of an asset, I want to clarify that now because I didn't clarify that prior. Since Logan said to buy an asset would be a house in real estate that a tenant is renting. So you don't have to worry about who is paying rent, right? A very secure way is Section 8. Section 8, the government pays you. You don't even have to worry about the fucking tenant. That's what I'm currently getting into, right? So your mortgage is currently being paid off by the government or by your tenant for this example, and it's worth $100,000. You go refinance for $150,000. Here's the fucking trick. That $150,000, you take that initial 100, you pay off the first loan. Now you have one mortgage worth $150,000, but someone else is paying that mortgage for you because they live in that house, right? How much do you have left? If you paid 100 and you got 150, how much do you have left? Say that shit. I'm listening.
I said 50.
50.
I was muted though.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I was muted too.
I think I was muted. I
You
wasn't
got
sure.
$50,000. That $50,000 is now in your pocket, tax-free. The government can tax that. They cannot fucking take money out of your pocket for that. So
Okay.
at the end of the year, when you have, like for me, this year, I have no idea how much I owe in taxes. but I know I'm going to be spending anywhere from 40 grand to probably 80 grand on taxes alone, right? You have two options. Pay the government that 40 to 80, or go buy something worth 40 to 80 grand that you can write off and essentially call break even, right? That's why these people buy jets. That's why these people buy planes. That's why these people buy essentially depreciating assets that they can write off but still make money on in the back end, right? So an easy way to make you understand this, because it was very hard for me to fully understand, like buying an object and getting a write-off off of it. You don't pay tax. You're good. You don't pay tax until you sell on a lot of items, right? One easy way to remember is the stock market. If you buy a stock, you don't pay a capital gains tax until you sell that stock. Get it? So a lot of people I know, actually, they'll buy Bitcoin, and what they'll do, there's a loophole, and I might botch this, but for the sake of the example, what you'll do is you'll buy Bitcoin 1 year, like you'll buy it in the beginning of this year, get rid of your money. The next year, you'll sell it right there. The tax you're paying on that is considered like a depreciative, it's like a depreciable asset with crypto specifically. It's fucking weird. I'm going to find out the exact equation for you guys, but people have this loophole with Bitcoin. You buy Bitcoin, you spend the money, you're going to be taxed 40% on average of anything really with capital gains, to 40% on average, right? So you're almost half. You really have to have a good ROI on that shit. A lot of my friends, I'm going to find out the tax loophole, because I actually might take advantage of this if I owe fucking 80 grand. If you buy a Bitcoin 1 year, the separation of dates, like 1 year to the next physical, that's where that tax gain is brought on. Essentially, you could buy something, no tax. So when you buy the house, you don't pay tax on that sale except for essentially the sales tax, that immediate time, right? You pay tax again when you sell. To avoid paying that tax on the back end for when you sell, you just never sell. That's why you buy so much real estate and you refinance. That's how you keep making money on it, tax-free money. So you can either sell and pay tax on it and get the whole lump sum of 150 grand in your pocket, or you can get another loan and get a third of that in your pocket tax-free. So you owe nobody nothing.
So are you saying, like, say you're about to pay like 40 grand in taxes, but instead of paying that 40 grand, you're gonna put that 40 grand to your floors, like how you kind of did?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Literally exactly that. Literally exactly that. So good example. You can also do this. This is another strategy, which I'll explain, but imagine there's no separation of years, right? So I spent, oh yeah, no, I could teach you guys a lot right now, but I'm not going that fucking deep. It's going to be too much for you to fully take in today. For my floor specifically, real life example, I spent 9 grand. For this sake, I'm going to make it around number 10. I spent 10 grand on the first guy. He fucked my floors up. I still spent $10,000. That's still money out of my pocket. I didn't receive a product. That's still money out of my pocket, right? So I can do two things there. I can claim it as bad debt, which means I tell the IRS, hey, I could tell him straight up, yo, you don't got to give me the money back. Don't even worry about it. I'm never going to see that money. Whether or not he wants to pay me back, he's not going to pay me back. I'm never going to see that money. You know how I can fuck him on the back end? Pause. You know how I can fuck him on the back end? Go to the IRS, say it's bad debt with him. So now I still get the write-off for 10K. This is the only way I get the write-off for that 10K. I get the write-off for 10K. The government writes that off on my taxes. So I'll owe essentially a percentage of that 10K less. Now the IRS knows he made 10K on a job he didn't finish. He doesn't need to essentially show that income. Now the government knows he has 10,000 of mine. They still want their money. So if you do bad debt on somebody else's job, now I don't got to go after you for my cash. I'll get it from the IRS. Now you got to deal with the fucking IRS. And when I say the IRS is the one fucking gang in America that you cannot escape, that's how I see them. They want their money for no fucking reason. They'll come knocking on your door and they'll fucking take it. They don't care. You get what I'm saying? They will not ask. They will take your shit. It doesn't matter. Legally. So it's like they'll garnish. Oh yeah, it's another thing. They'll garnish your wages. So let's say, again, Darius, I'm going to use you an example. Also, I'm going to say something fucking awesome. Darius is now part of my team with Khalil. He's going to be, because he steps in so fucking much, I decided to give him a position as more of a teacher, more of a leader in this. So when we take on more people, when I do the subgroups, the beginner, the intermediate, and the professionals, he's going to be on essentially our team teaching everybody and making sure everything is good. So when I cannot respond and he has the knowledge to respond, like he's been doing without me asking, I'm now just compensating him for that because he's adding a lot of value for everybody. So welcoming Darius to the team. That's why I'm using him as an example, right? So the IRS has the authority to levy or seize your property, including garnishing your wages. Do you know what it means to garnish your wages? Say it again, Lee. Yeah, I just learned this shit the other day. I didn't know about this. This is something super fucking useful. So Darius's girl, she also does,
He's a nail tech.
That's what I thought. Okay, cool. So she's a nail tech, right? They both have the opportunity to make really good money, right? Let's say Darius decides, I know I made 100 grand this year, but I'm only going to claim 80. But the government can see that 100, right? He gets taxed on the 80. Government finds out about the 100. Darius owes more in taxes. Darius says, I'm not paying it. I just don't want to. Whether I have the money right now or not, I ain't paying that shit. Fuck them. They're not getting it. Here's the thing. If Darius and his girl lives in the same household, if they're married, if they're together, same address, what the government can do, what the IRS can do is go and they can take the money and add it onto her taxes because they're getting that fucking money. Now, here's another fucked up scenario. See, Logan, I see that look. You're like, oh, fuck. Like, if you have a girl and you're married and she works a normal job, W-2, that's what they receive. They'll take it right out of the paycheck. They'll take it right out of the paycheck before she sees it. You'll do, yeah, like you won't be told, you won't get a letter. They have no right to tell you a goddamn thing. They want their money back. They're going to take it. So the only way, and I can't further this enough, the only way to be wealthy is to keep more, not save more, keep more. Which I'm going to make this statement and I'm going to let you guys figure out when you guys get into Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you have savings, a lump sum in just savings sitting in an account, you're a fucking idiot.
Roth.
Roth IRA, one, huge one, right? You can go S&P 500. You can run that. You can run an index fund. You can run a long-term option. You can run a high yield savings account, right? That's what I have. I have a high yield savings account at 4.5%, and I make probably $800 a month on that. Then again, it's a lump sum, but I still make a little bit, right? That $800 a month keeps me at essentially market value for my money. If you hold 10 grand in a savings account, fire. If you hold 10 grand in a savings account and you just let it sit, you're like, all right, I have 10 grand. I can't touch it. I got to keep it. Every day our dollar is getting, I mean, now with Trump, hopefully it'll gain more value, but every day our dollar is losing more and more value. More and more value. If you just have your money sitting, it was 10 grand, but with prices rising and you still keeping 10 grand, what it was worth is not what it's currently worth. So you need to put your money somewhere where it keeps the same value. Not the same number, same value, if that makes sense, right? So if you have 10 grand and you want a motorcycle, you want a bike, you want a Harley, and that Harley is $10,000. You wait 2 months. You're like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna save a little bit more. That Harley is now $11,000. Why the fuck did the price go up? Why? Well, he just added tariffs in. It's gonna cost more to bring materials in. It's gonna cost more to make that bike, right? But you still only have $10,000. The value of that 10,000 a month ago is not the value of that 10,000 today. So the smartest thing you can do is Darius. Thankfully, I have this answer again, why I trust him to help with you guys and all of us, because he's teaching me also. Roth IRA. If you get a Roth IRA, it's very, very simple. It's for the most part tax-free. You have to pay tax when you take it out, or you pay tax when you put it in. It's one or the other, right? It's sticky. There's ways around it where you don't have to pay tax, but it's very, very specific, right? A cool thing about a Roth IRA, which I really want you guys to open. If you can open one fucking thing, it's like a savings account that you can't pull out, right?
Yeah.
You throw money in it. You can throw anywhere from $5 to $6,000 a month. 6,000 is the max. The earlier you set it up, the more money you'll have at the back end.
Yep.
All right. So the biggest thing with this, again, time, something you can't get back. So Damien, if Damien and Darius open an IRA today, because Damien is 17 and Darius is it 23 or 24? Am I bugged out on that? Beautiful. 24. Damien has 7 years. 7 years on Darius. Compound interest. And if you don't know what compound interest is, it doubles, but it's not like 2, 4, 6. No, it's 2, 4, 8, 16, 32 exponential. So it doesn't look like this. It looks like fucking that, right? So those 7 years, is going to be a difference. They both are allowed to take the money out at 65. There's a Roth IRA. They can both take the money out at 65. All right. Darius is 24. If he throws $1,000 in now and never puts another fucking denomination in, $1,000 now and lets that accrue interest till he's 65, let's say it's $1 million. The 7-year difference of $1,000 compound interest, Damien will probably have 7 or 8 million. He'll have substantially more, same amount invested. If you don't have a Roth IRA, start it now. Start it ASAP. Fucking run it. All right. That's the biggest thing I could say. Huh, that's crazy. Yeah. So that is, we'll talk about it in a minute. So that is, I don't know if that doesn't tell you how important time is. I really don't know what else can. Like, I really don't. You can make more bread. You can't get more time back. Like, simple enough. So if I can urge you guys to do one thing, it would be open a Roth IRA, because it's a consistent 7 to 8% compound interest every single year. That's right in line with the S&P 500. That's right in line with the Dow Jones. It's right in line with everything else, just zero risk. And here's another thing with the Roth IRA. You can take money out, but you're not just pulling it out. You have to pay it back. But you have to pay it back with interest. When you pay it back with interest, you're not paying it back to just a random fucking bank or a random person. You're paying it back to yourself. So if you pull money out of your Roth IRA, let's say you pull out 1,000, you could pull it out at any time. Darius can do it right now if he has that in there. When he pulls it out, he needs to pay it back with interest. That interest also goes to you. That interest also goes back into your account. So it's only beneficial, right? People do this with Roth IRAs. People do this with life insurance. Life insurance is a whole different topic. You can essentially be your own banking system, which I'll teach you guys about once you guys finish this Rich Dad Poor Dad shit, because you'll have a better grasp as to really the financial system and financial literacy. I can't really teach you about life insurance because it's going to be way too much. I'm still grasping all of that. So yeah, time does not equate to money.
I will
Money
also say with the way the world is, if you have a Roth IRA, I don't know if you touched on it, Steven, I walked out. Depending on what the percentage is at the end of the year is how much you'll gain. So say you put $1,000 and the percent is 10%. What is that? What'd you say, Logan? Sorry, you're on mute, bro.
I'm in.
Right. So every year, if you leave 1,000 every year, bro, it's $100 extra that you didn't have to do nothing for. You did zero, bro, just to gain an extra $100, letting your money sit in a Roth IRA. Think about that. You could, bro, every month. Think about it.
Literally doing nothing.
Tax
But
free.
now here's the beautiful part. So I'm gonna go on top of that, right? So I didn't explain that as simple as that. I'm gonna go further. The compound interest, like I said, exponentially. You started with 1,000, you just earned 100, like Darius said. Now you're not earning 100, you're earning that 10% on 100. Oh, sorry, what is it? 1,100? Yeah, 1,100. Now you're earning that 10% on 1,100. Throw that back in there. Now you're earning 10% on that number. So it exponentially grows. It's higher and higher and higher. You're not only earning 10% on just that 1,000. Whatever you just earned, you're earning a 10% now on that. Get what I'm saying? It's greater than what you think. That is the only way. If you can find out how to compound anything in life, you win. You can't run out. Like that's how that goes generally. So I have a Roth IRA. Do you have a Roth IRA? Yeah, Lee has a Roth IRA. It's smart to have. It's really your only form of retirement if you are self-employed. Because we don't have a 401k. We don't have anything like that. We don't have everybody technically has Social Security, but nobody's getting paid out Social Security right now. So also the hot take, which they talk about also in Rich Dad, is pensions and Social Security. Don't depend on it. If you have a regular job or anybody around you has a regular job, the government can only print so much money and we can only get in so much debt. So pensions, I believe that they will not get paid out in the next coming years. I also believe that they're currently not being paid out the way that they should be. When it comes to Social Security, a lot of people have already said that well ran dry. So you can't really hope on that. You can't base your life on government assisted retirement programs, even if you're putting all your money away in it. Roth IRA though, that's on you. Say it louder. You can do a simple IRA, Roth IRA. It's the same thing, just different terms essentially.
slightly different, but there's different benefits.
So like I said, same thing, different terms. To keep it simple.
Steven, I want to talk to you about so that you can expand on it. I'm like set on trying to buy a house by the end of this year. I don't want my girlfriend to open up her own business, so I said let's get a 3-bedroom house. And as long as that room is more than 350 square foot, we'll write that off as a business part of our house, and we can write that off on taxes. That's something that
Yeah.
if you ought to know that you can use your own house as a business. You can use any vehicle. If you want to buy a motorcycle to go to work or for fun, you write it off as a work vehicle. You can write off every single mile that you put on that bike, every single tank that you fill up, every single thing you do with the vehicle that you want for fun, you can use as a business vehicle.
A mess. It's a perfect example though. Yeah. Everything he just said. Exactly, right? So this is our messy fucking apartment right now. Forgive me. I live a real life and I'm not clean. So apartment, right? Bedroom, which I'm actually not going to show you. That's fun. That's like, we could at least make the bed, you know? We didn't get up that fucking early. Bathroom. Yeah, I know it's fucked up. Bedroom. Then I have the laundry room. Then I have bathroom, you know, side room, right? We have a guest room. I don't like people in my house. I never use the guest room. So as long as it's big enough, this room, also a mess, forgive me, but this room, but it's a good example. This mess of a fucking room with a bed and a desk. If I use this desk to do these calls an hour, 2 hours a week, I write this whole fucking room off because this is my home office. So you get a deduction based on your rent because this room is used as an office. I'm getting write-offs currently on this room. Look how fucking dirty it is. Dude, I have a fucking 6-foot punching bag on the floor. What you get to write this room off. You get what I'm saying? It's a perfect example of how you run the tax system. Kai, come on, get out of here. Come on. Thank you. That is a beautiful, perfect example of how far write-offs go. Right? Go ahead. Yeah, all of that is from Christmas. So wrapping shit and fucking extra stuff that we don't use, but we got as gifts. It's just sitting there, so I do apologize. Yeah, dude, taxes and understanding how you can legally pay less taxes is the only way to be wealthy. I've been researching this shit since I was 16 because my family wasn't very well off with all that. And it really encouraged me because I realized that my family lost all of our money and lost our house in the housing market crash of 07 to 09 now. A lot of people don't fully understand what that was. And if you don't know what that was, go watch the movie The Big Short. It is super entertaining and explains exactly why that crash happened and how that crash happened. It has to do with derivatives. That is an equation to a nuclear bomb, but in the financial industry, right? So go watch that movie if you have nothing to do and you just like watch shows at the end of the night. Go watch The Big Short. The Big Short is the best movie that explains that housing market crash. And it explains why, and it's going to further why your house is a liability, not an asset. Is the biggest fallacy that the government has told us. A lot of the richest people I know, they don't buy, they rent. So keep that in mind. Also, the way that I thought you were going with this, Darius, was the 3-bedroom. Let's say if you get a 3-bedroom house per se, right? Per chance, whatever the fuck the right word is. If you go get a multifamily and it's a 3-person house, this is the way that I would recommend you get a house, Darius. Go get a multifamily, 3-person house, 3-family house, rent out the other 2, make it cover your mortgage. You're living for free. You're living for free. You have no fucking payment. So now your living expenses are break even, right? Where I'm at right now, huh? I'm literally just going to put it on mute. Say it out loud.
I was just saying that if you get a multifamily and you declare that as your primary residence for the first year, even though it's an investment property, that will still qualify you for a first-time homeowner's loan, which is a way lower interest rate than any other loan you can get, pretty much.
As opposed to 20% or 10% on an FHA loan. There's 2 types of FHA loans. On an FHA loan, you pay 3%, 3.5%. So you get to pay pennies as to what other people would pay, right? So the house we were looking to buy, I would have had to come out of pocket 100, what was it, 100? Yeah, 100, which is 20% down. So we had to come out of pocket 100. And if we ran, because of the loan we had to get, if we had to run an FHA or had the opportunity to run an FHA, dude, I only had to put down like fucking 15 to 20, like nothing. I would throw it at him, like, fucking give me the house, like,
Crazy.
yeah, something that large is fucking retarded. But also, I'm happy she spoke on that because when she was 19, she bought her first rental property.
And I had to get a.
That's unheard of. And she had to get a commercial loan. I'm gonna have her run you through that a little bit so you guys understand that. But she has a rental property already. And one of my requirements, which this goes into relationship advice, because I know we don't talk about that a lot. I had a checklist. One of my checks was I need my girl to be into like rentals. Like I want her to understand what I'm talking about. She checked that shit. First one.
So essentially, if it goes based off your income on paper, so I was bartending, so I had a lot of cash, so I wasn't claiming all of it. So off technicality, I couldn't afford the mortgage and the overhead myself, but it was an investment property, so I don't have to. So essentially, if you can prove that the property pays for itself and you don't have to come out of pocket, as long as you can make that down payment, they don't care, just as a higher payment and a higher interest rate. But if it's rented out and other people are paying the mortgage, it doesn't necessarily matter.
Yeah. So with that, if you guys want to get your first house, you don't know what to do, or let's say you're like me, I don't claim every single dollar I make because of write-offs and everything. I can make $1 million this year on paper, and I could have $1 million worth of write-offs. My business is break even. If I'm claiming break even, I'm claiming minimal profits, so I pay minimal taxes. They base what I can afford off my profits, not off my income. So according to the government, according to anybody giving me a loan, I don't make anything, right? That makes it extremely difficult for me to go get a loan. The way I can buy a house easily is if I have the cash for a down payment, which thankfully we will, right? You will too, right? You'll have the cash when you're looking for the house. If you get a rental property, like a multifamily like that, as long as the two tenants make enough to pay that mortgage without your input, anybody on the planet, as long as they have the down payment ready, can afford that house, because on paper, the house pays for itself. So they won't look at your bank account. They won't look at your statements. They're going to look at the house, and they're going to look at the income generated by the house. It's a cash flowing asset at that point. The house pays for itself. You have the down payment. Cool. Give me the money here. That's how that works. Those are the numbers that go into that equation when they run it. So if you can't afford a house, or the house isn't what you think it is, or the numbers don't add up in your favor, if you go buy a rental property, a duplex, a property with two houses and one house pays everything, you will get that property. No question. They can't tell you no. If it pays for itself, they cannot tell you no. And a lot of the duplexes that are for sale, they already have people in it. So you can buy a rental property that shows it pushes that cash to pay the house off, and the tenants are already there. You don't even got to find nobody to get in it. If you want to live in it, you just got to kick one out, which sucks, but that's what you have to do.
You can also make the, in your closing, like make it contingent that the tenants stay, because a lot of times, like sometimes they can't.
Yeah, that's another thing. When it comes to contractual shit, you can make a contingent that they have to stay. So like upon you buying it, you need to put it in the clause that it needs to be rented out when you're buying, or you're not held liable and you don't have to buy it if they move out. Essentially, that's how that goes. Well, I noticed nobody put new photos to go through and actually look at, to critique. Sorry, I was looking for the word. I'm fucking running on 5% right now. Nobody putting photos to critique for today. So instead of doing a critique every single meet, I'm going to do it, let's say, every Sunday. I'm going to give everybody a full week, get your tattoos down, and then we'll run through it. But for the sake of today, with the last 25 minutes, 15 minutes that we have until it's over, I'm going to pull up some pieces from some artists that I would say, huge fans of. I love their work. I put their work on a pedestal. I put my standard of quality. It was generated from their work. Their quality they provide, I created a standard for myself based on their work that I've seen, right? So I'm going to
Do
join
some
on
of
my-
yours too.
You want me to go through my work and fucking critique the shit out of mine?
Yeah.
Right now. I'll do that the whole fucking time. That's crazy. That's wild. Lee just said, I can do that. This looks like shit. This looks like shit. I was about to say some wild shit too. That's fucked up, dude. Well, when I disappear, you know why. All right, hold on. Let me turn this down because this shit's about I'm going to admit myself. I'm going to mute myself because I don't want that fucking echo again.
It's gonna be Steven that has the black eye this time.
if y'all were curious on how the 80% heals, this is how it heals with like this is with the O6 and O6 III. That's 80%. So it's not black, but it gives and it gives like a daintier and a softer look. So
Yeah, that's still fine too.
yeah. I wish I want to be in the light, but yeah, this is with 80%. So just so y'all can see. That's with the dynamic gray wash.
Facts. Y'all can hear me? No echo, no nothing. All
Yeah,
right,
you're
somebody
good.
else. All right,
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
perfect. I can hear it. Awesome. I'm gonna go through here real quick. I'm gonna end up sharing my screen and everything. Honestly, I kind of want everybody else to critique my shit. I kind of want to hear what you guys see.
Yeah.
I want you guys to pick my shit apart. Let me find some photos. Let me see if I can edit these real quick, rotate them. This is where the fuck are they at? Yeah, let's critique them. I like this. Hold on. I'm gonna start sharing. I'm also gonna stop sharing in between because it's in my photos and I'm not doing that today. Let me see. All right, let me see.
If you want. Oh, never mind.
You guys can see?
Yes, sir.
Facts. All right, so this is one of the pieces that I did at the convention. This is without any fucking lighting, just regular photo on this side. I'm gonna show you comparison with and without the actual filter on it, right? So just off first glance, and I'll show you guys, actually, how the fuck do I want to run this? It's weird. Like I know how to structure it when I'm critiquing someone else's shit but my own. It's like, huh, where the fuck do I go? So just take a look at this side. Tell me if you guys see anything. Of course it's unfinished, but with everything that I've done so far, the bottom's healed, where the teeth are at. Everything that's kind of red, that's what's not healed. Or everything that's red is fresh. Everything underneath is healed. I'm setting up my iPad now so I can get all these photos in for you, so you can actually see the stencil and everything, so you guys can see it from start to finish, essentially. I'm going to copy that. All right. Is there anything that you guys see that doesn't look right, that doesn't look realistic in a sense? What I could have done better, whether it comes to contrast, solid packing, anything. So I can pull that shit apart. Because I'm not perfect and my work is not fucking perfect. So you can find something. I'm setting it up on my iPad now so you can see reference next to finished piece.
Hey, did you send these to the Telegram? These pictures? Or this-
No, not yet. I'm setting it up on my iPad now, and I'm gonna end the screen share on my phone. I'm gonna set it up with my iPad so I can do it how I do everybody else's.
Okay, because I was going to say I wanted to zoom in on a part, but I didn't want everybody else to have to just look at that part, you know?
I'm gonna send this over there right now. Actually, let me end the screen share on here. Okay, now I'm back on here. All right, I'm sending it over there now to the Telegram. Okay, I just sent those 3 photos into the Telegram now. And now I'm gonna get into, he just hit the thing, I think, to go outside. He just hit the bells. Yeah, then I'm gonna just hop on Zoom from my iPad now.
Recording in
Ah,
progress.
fucking hell. Okay. Can y'all hear me without this thing fucking echoing like a motherfucker?
Yeah.
Fire. Good, because I fucking hate how that is. All right, so now that's in Telegram. I don't need my phone anymore. I'm gonna go share my screen with my iPad. I'm gonna go into Procreate.
Okay, I'm just asking. I'm still like new to tattooing, so I'm just like, yeah, don't. I just want to see your thought process on it. So
Yeah.
with the left nostril,
Yep.
you I feel like you did like a hard like line, and the other right side you kind of like faded like the, I guess, white piece or like skin piece. Like, I don't know how to describe it. There's like
Okay.
bone going inside of like the nostril.
Mhm.
On the left side you kind of like did like a hard line like without fading, I guess. And then on the right
Yep.
side you kind of faded it. Like, did you mean to do that, or like I just wanted to see?
You're talking more so like right here? Or are you more
No, like the actual things inside the nostril. Yeah, those. Yeah, like I said, on the left side you kind of like, it looks like you like did like more of like a harder line, and then on the right side it looks like you kind of faded it going more towards the inner.
this section specifically right here?
Yeah.
So for that specifically right there, what I did was, okay, let me actually copy that over so I don't move the whole image. So when it comes to the nostrils, what I did specifically for that was just matching it to the photo itself, the best to my ability. Right. So nostril to nostril, when it comes to kind of like fading it, and by fading, do you mean like directly on this line right here?
So the left side honestly looks like almost, to be honest, like exactly like it. The right side I see like, I don't know if it was more towards like the inner part. Yeah, like to the left a little bit more. It looked like you kind of like faded down into there, or like, I guess it doesn't look like it's like as dark.
How it's supposed to be. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're okay. So you're talking specifically right, literally there.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
didn't know.
So that spot, no, that's perfect. Yeah, no, that's perfect. So that right there, this whole right side, I want to bring in a little bit more. So right where these dots are, everything should come in a little bit more. So the whole fucking piece, the whole nostril, all of this, I want to come a little bit higher. Right in here, I want to thin this out a little bit more. So this in here specifically should be solid.
Okay, yeah, that's
way more
exactly.
solid. Same thing with in here. That I want solid, and this in here I want way more solid. But he was fucking tapping out, so I was like, dude, let me just get this fade right so it doesn't look fucking crazy. No excuse.
The
but-
first thing I saw was the right eye socket. Like the bottom left of it. Like I feel like it's not as defined as you normally like your stuff.
Yeah, I fucking forced myself to go a little bit more simple on certain parts, but for this specifically, let me see.
I will say, I feel like maybe you could have added a little bit more like darkness in the eyes, bro. I think that
Yeah.
would push this like the nostril, like the cheekbone, all that forward. That's one thing I learned is to like put the black in the eyes, bro, because they're so deep and dark.
Yeah,
But-
that's one of the things that I was having trouble with on this piece, to be honest with you.
But I do know that the area that you're tattooing, bro, trying to pack black in there, one, it's not comfortable for him.
Fucking sucks.
And two, that skin's very bouncy, bro.
So that's the trouble I was running into with that, because ideally something closer to this shade is what I wanted, but with how sensitive the back of his leg was, when I tell you everything I shaded in here was with black ink, I didn't use any of my fucking 60 to do any of that. And I ran over that a lot. So that was nearing the end because of the top. That's actually why we stopped. I couldn't get that as dark as I wanted to, but that's my main critique. For this piece, the one thing I keep looking at is how light the eyes are. I fucking can't stand it. Next session, considering he has to finish it, the first thing I'm doing is brushing a whole shade darker on the eyes. So I'm very happy Darius put that up. Specifically you, RJ, for bringing up the right socket compared to the left, because the right is way lighter than the left. But he couldn't fucking sit any longer, and I was gonna lose my mind if it didn't allow it. But this specifically in here, way too light for my liking, especially here. Given in the reference photo, it's a little bit lighter in the tops. I would think this is more of a direct representation of the photo. Even on this side, it's way too light for my liking. That's one of the things I would have changed on the piece. I would have made it way darker.
But one thing I will say to everybody is it's better to go lighter and have the ability to go back and fix it than go too dark and not be able to fix it at all.
Yeah, you can always go darker. You can't go lighter. Always.
Less is more.
Always. Fucking always. And I believe I'm going to be finishing this up in about a month. But I would say another thing that I didn't do the way that I wanted to is right here. Oh, is right here. You can see the separation in here specifically. I did not match that the way that I wanted to in this spot at all. Right there. I feel like I could have made this way more accurate to the photo. I think without having the photo in front of you, it doesn't look bad and it adds the detail that you need. However, when you have the photo in front of you, that's like the first thing with the eyes. It pops, it gets my attention. I believe it pops way more. I think right here, in this photo, I could have gone darker in this spot to get that to be a little bit more accurate to the photo. I added a little more detail than there was over here, but I kind of like that personally with this cheekbone. Fucker. I like that with this cheekbone. I put in a little bit more detail over here specifically. Because to me, it gives it just that much more. It makes it pop more. You know what I mean? So here compared to here, I like the higher detail with what I did, just higher contrast. If you go too light though, then it fucks with the depth. So you got to know where to and not to add. So with that, I spent a lot of time on that spot just to make sure the tone was right. Because realistically, with this part specifically, the important part is here, keeping that dark, and then having this shadow and the shape, right? So having this shadow and this shadow really determines the shape of that cheekbone. So as long as you keep that in there, you can kind of mess with it as long as it's along the same tone, if that kind of makes sense. You have more leeway when adding detail in spots like that. But also keep in mind, if you add detail, because I know you said that the right eye socket was less detailed than what I would normally like. When dealing with the other eye socket, I would like to go darker. However, if you're adding more detail like this in other places, you kind of want to reduce detail in other spots like that.
I was saying like the bottom left corner of it, like it's not as defined.
In here,
A little bit above that line, but yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah, that could be way cleaner. I feel like this line right here is it almost gets fuzzy. That could have been sharpened up a little bit. When I go over that in dark, which again, good thing, because it's so light, I can go over that a little bit darker and clean that up. So I should have done better on that. However, I did leave that window open to be able to fix it without it being too noticeable that I'm trying to cover or fix something up. Right. So this right here could be cleaner. But regarding actual detail inside of the eye socket, you kind of want to take detail not away, but limit it in certain areas if you're adding such heavy detail in other areas. Because you don't want your eye to just look and then just keep bouncing off detail, right? You want it to take a clear path of, okay, you see the teeth at the bottom, cool, this ray's dope. Teeth are here, detail comes up here, holy shit, up there. Everything has to have a flow. When you're looking at a piece, your eye should be directing up the piece, right? So one thing that you can do with the piece, let me see if it'll allow me to paste the actual, no, it won't. One thing you want to do with pieces, or at least that I focus on, you want to make sure that there's a direction that you're looking into. So for me, this is the direction. Having this ray straight up into the sides is going to determine the direction that your eye goes. The amount of detail that you put into it is where your eye is going to gravitate. So having this much open space, open skin tone in the piece, your eye is going to go directly to the light, or it's going to go directly to the dark, right? So you want that balance. You have the light here, you have the dark here, you have the dark here. You have that path. Super dark over here, super dark here. Heavy detail I put in there, right? So you see the light, you draw up, go back, you can take another path, go here, it's dark over here. You see this detail, okay, that's impressive. This is super fucking dark. You can go here, look at everything here, and then draw back down. As long as you go, whatever route you take, as long as you take a route to see everything in one direction, you did your job. It needs to flow. That's part of the flow. Figure out where your eye is going to take and what path you want the eye to take, and then create it. If that kind of makes sense. I see a lot of my pieces in that direction. You want it to flow and pick a direction the eye is going to go. Also, my stencil, I didn't show you guys a stencil. This is my stencil for this piece. That's the hand stencil that I use for this piece. I also used this as well to assist it. I just erased certain parts that had detail that compromised my hand stencil. So I'll do this white stencil generated by Procreate, and then I will go erase sections. As you could see, I'll go erase sections like in here. I erased all that from the white stencil. I erased all this, all that, because that detail compromised my hand stencil. So I'll take away from one stencil just so I have a balance with the other one. So that is why I stencil what I stencil. And the reason I stenciled everything in the skull in red is so I can get that high detail. But as funny as it is, if you noticed, the one place that I didn't stencil by hand is the one place I put the most detail. Let me actually go back. All right.
Did you use that technique that you were talking about one of the meetings ago about turning your machine down on
Yeah.
that tattoo, or have you used it?
I turned it down on that tattoo. Let me see if I can show you. So I did that piece I did this piece at 5.4. So this actual piece I did at 5.4 and it saturated so much quicker. I'll show you the actual photo of it if I can get to it. This piece I did at, my machine was, I used the packer and I used the shader. The shader I ran this piece at probably a 6.8 to a 7.2, and I ran the packer from a 6 to a 6.5. So that's what I ran this piece to. A little bit lower than I normally would, but it's still higher than what I was recommended. The next day I did this piece. I ran this piece at the 5.4 and it saturated so much quicker. Like this is with the filter and all my blacks look so much more solid. So that's definitely one of the main things that I took away from doing this piece directly. Also, I can probably get this fucking piece in there too. That's not what I wanted. Let me get this piece up for you guys too. Oh, we already have it. Yeah. We also in this, which we already kind of went over in the last one, but if there's anything else you guys see that is just not, I would say not accurate to the stencil, so I can run through it. Because the one thing that I see is the main little detail in like these little spots over here. That compared to this is not fully accurate. This part of the back to there is not fully accurate. And then this white line up top, I'm partially regretting doing, but it doesn't really take away from the rest of the piece. So I'm like in the middle. But if I were to do anything different, I would say it's the amount of detail that I put in to here and in here. I think I could have made it a little bit cleaner. I wouldn't put more, but I think I could make it a little bit cleaner. And then up top here, right where I faded that down from white to gray on the actual reference is a little bit lower. Those are the main takeaways I took from this piece. But running this at 5.4, I used a 3-round liner and I used a 5-round shader for the whole fucking piece.
I don't know how much time you have left, Steven, but if you did want a piece to critique, bro, you can do that Jesus piece I did on that girl. There's a lot of things wrong with it, bro.
Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah. Let me take off these gloves and then I'll send in the reference from my iPad right now.
Send everything together. Send the finished photos, which you already sent, but send the finished photos, send the reference, and then I'll run through it.
Cool.
But yeah, take a minute. I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick, so I'll be right back in like 2 seconds. All right. Fire. All right, I saw RJ sent his into the chat again. Checking that out now. I like the way you did the stencil. I'm gonna start with that.
I feel like I could have added more texture to it though. To
To
like the
the-
skull. I don't have the raw picture though, sadly, of the stencil. Well, actually, yeah.
That's
It's,
fine. I was gonna say the fact that I could see it on this, I could see the whole stencil just fine. So that's
Yeah.
perfect. I like the stencil a lot. To me, it's clear as day for the piece.
yeah, I do definitely do like how because I stole that one from you with how to make the stencils and stuff, and I kind of like it that way.
Yeah, it works with majority of pieces. You do want to add some of your own detail, which I saw you did, which is I like that a lot. Which you didn't have to touch the crow or the raven. It fucking anything with fur or hair texture, doing the way that I showed you guys the other day with the color dodge, invert, and then the blur, that will get the most detail out of that. And it's going to be most accurate to the photo. Let me see. I would say the skull reference, even on the photo of the skull, the detail isn't super sharp. It's not super clear. So I don't expect you to get super sharp, clear detail on the skin because the reference you're going off of doesn't even have it. For this, I would say probably try to find a better reference for the skull itself if you want to get higher detail, higher gloss, like the way that I kind of do my skulls. I'll search through photos of skulls for hours trying to find the right one. So that would be the first thing I would critique. Just try and find a better photo and you'll get better quality right off rip. All right. I mean, I don't have the actual reference for the crow. Is it a crow or a raven? One of the two? Yeah, crow or raven. I would say
I'm about to send that
Some-
reference in. I thought it attached to it.
how you telling? I would say mainly the head of the raven. I can't see the whole head because it curves with the body, but I would say the head of the crow or the raven. If you kept it a little bit darker in certain areas, I think it would have popped way more. And I'm trying to think of the right way to say it so it's not
Yeah, I just sent the one with the crow.
screwed. Let me see. I would say under the jaw specifically, you could have
Mhm.
went a little bit darker.
Gotcha. Yeah,
I'm
towards the
gonna-
end, like I can tell, like
Yeah, you
on the
could've went
fur
darker.
of like the right side, or not the fur, but the feather on the right side of like the eye socket, his skin would not take like at all. I'm pretty sure that's all black right there.
I was
It's
gonna
just
say I'm kinda
his
seeing
skin
that.
wasn't really taken right there.
Yeah, it looks like if you went darker right here on the actual bird itself, I think it would have made the structure of the face pop way more. When it comes to the side of the face for the crow, I would say, let me look at the reference one more time before I fucking bite my own tongue. Yeah, yeah, I would say go darker close to the beak and leave a more like a sharper line transition from fur, not fur, but hair, feather to beak. If that kind of makes sense. I would have gone darker near the beak and I would have gone darker underneath the structure of the jaw. And what could have added a lot to this piece if you threw a shadow under the skull onto the bird, if you threw even the slightest, like just solid black shadow, that would have
Yeah, I tried to on that one, but I think it wasn't enough.
yeah, a little bit thicker, a little bit wider near the actual jawbone on the
Mhm.
skull. That would have popped out crazy. And then let me look at the reference photo for the actual antler itself. Antler, you would have, I would say with the antler, you could have went darker, a little bit higher up on just the base. Make that a clearer, easy. Make that a little bit clearer. It looks like you kind of came off the back of the antler with the shadow and then you cross over to the front.
Gotcha, okay.
On the reference, it stays more mid. Yeah, so look at the antler real quick.
Mhm.
Right? With the antler, if you put a heavier shadow on the back end where you have it, if you went a little darker and had that line a little bit sharper, I think it would have pushed the light, the skin tone on that antler out way more. And then kind of kept that consistent going up. That would have added a lot to it. I like the way you structured the piece for the space. I would essentially say just a reference photo for the skull. If you get a better reference photo for the skull, you would have been able to get way more detail. That a little bit darker under the jaw and close to the beak. I feel like the feathers on the side of the head is a little bit light. I would like to see a little bit more contrast there. But anything below the skull on the bird is pretty accurate to the photo. I would say, if anything, a little bit sharper in certain areas. Little bit sharper. But the bottom is good. The top, I would say, a little bit darker. And yeah, same thing with the antler and just a better reference photo. Right now, I think the only thing that really limited you was the reference photo. Overall. All right, time to stare at this shit. Fire. The contrast you did on the Jesus piece is nice. I think. See, I can't really.
For me, bro, the biggest thing that I struggled with was the Thorn of Crowns, and like my boss says, I was too like technical with it, and I needed to be more, I guess, like muddy with it. He said because you're trying to add hair with the crown and all this other craziness when you have a high contrast face, simplify it, bro. And
simplify it.
because he said that he's like, you try to do so much here, but you left so much in the face, like. So, and then with her, I did a lot more high contrast because it's a girl. I didn't want to do like a hyper, like crazy realistic, to make it more softer, a little bit softer for her sake. So, but my biggest thing was the crown, bro. The crown of thorns literally was the biggest thing. Like the tones in the face, the nose, everything was simple for me. It was just the crown.
I was gonna say the face looks good. I do like the way the face is. The only thing, there's like 2 or 3 things with the face that's throwing me off. It draws my eye too much.
Okay.
With the face, the cheekbone right here,
Mm-hmm.
I think you should have went a little bit darker, a little bit more true to the reference on that side of the cheek.
Okay.
That's the only thing, because it seems like right here on the face is too similar to the tone of the actual cheekbone, the shadow that is creating. Right? If you created a little bit more of a shadow there, that would have popped the top of the cheekbone way more. That's the first thing. Second thing, crown of thorns. It looks like you almost like stutter stepped in a way. Like that's the only way I could say it. It's like you went confident and then you second guessed and it just stayed. That's what I see, because with your work, you could see you're very intentional and very confident. I would say with that crown of thorns, you just got a little carried away in the way that you didn't have a game plan fully. And now I think that's where it got fucked up, because technical, you could do that hands down.
And like he told me, he's like, bro, he's like, nobody cares about the hair. People care about the crown of thorns and the face. He doesn't need hair, bro. And I was like,
you just need high contrast. That's it.
He was like, you already have the detail in the video, bro. He's like, you already have the detail on the hair, on the sides and the back, and you can see the detail. The detail is there on the curls. That it's all there. He's like, so you don't have to put it on top because no one's gonna care about the top.
Look at it.
So like now that I have that understanding, I have a different approach to it now. So
something. Okay, one more thing. Two more things.
Go ahead.
Something. I'm gonna stare at this a little bit longer and give you like a direct like this is what it is, but I don't have it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna touch that. I'm gonna touch that now. The eye.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the first thing that I look at.
Eyelid. I don't know what it is.
No, I know what it is, bro. So I was like 2 in the morning looking at it, and you know what it is? It's missing the shadow where the eyelid is. It's supposed to, the darker shadow is supposed to be dropped farther down, so it doesn't make the eye look as big.
It looks like the eyelid is being pulled up.
So there's a shadow here that needs to be darker, dropped down.
Yeah.
And that's what I was looking at, and my girlfriend said the exact same thing in the eye. She's like, it looks a little bit bigger, and I said, it's not. And I was like, wait, bro. I have the tone there. I just needed to bring it down a little bit farther so it doesn't make the eye look like it's bigger than the other one, because right now it does.
Right now it does. That's the main thing. It looks like this motherfucker's like just out a little bit. Not what I did, but just a little bit.
Yeah. Those are my things, was the crown of thorns and the eye, bro.
The eye. I was gonna say something about the nose, but don't take my word. The nose is good. The nose I like. If there was anything I would say about the nose right here, that shadow, it's not like just it's not a clean, smooth run. There's like a little bump, but that's not something that you would tell off a reference photo. Like if you see this in person, the nose looks really good. It's just a reference photo. It's like nitpicking. The mustache, the separation of the mustache on one side, it almost feels like it's a little too big.
Okay.
It almost feels like it's a little too big.
Mhm. On our left, his right, correct? That little.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last thing I would say is where you put the white in the beard.
Okay.
Not where the reflection should be. A little bit overuse of the white on this side of the face. I think you should have put it a little bit heavier on the left side where there's less beard, because that's where the sun's coming from. That's where the light is coming from. So emphasizing that part of the beard over here and the way that it curls, it draws your eye to the wrong place.
Okay.
So I would
make
say
that focal point rather than, and you know what's crazy? You see that is because like everything on the hair, yes, bro.
see how much brighter it is than that.
Yeah.
You used white here to emphasize that without using a fuck ton of white there. So you didn't necessarily do something crazy wrong. You just imbalanced where the light's coming from. It pretty much takes away the shine from that side of the beard. If that makes sense.
And yeah, because like right here on the cross, you can see the lights on the left side of on the right side of the cross. His left side of his neck, like the right side of his face. Everything is, you can see all the highlights there, but I put the white in the wrong area to where. Okay.
Yeah, the white, that's the only thing. But here's the thing with white. When it heals, what I would say when it heals, because I know you're gonna have them come back because of the eye. I know you're gonna fix it.
Yeah.
When she comes back, do a light gray tone over the white you did prior, a light gray to darken that up a slight bit, and then add white more on that outside, and you're gonna fix that problem like that. It's gonna fix really fucking quick. Now, the good things about this piece, I love the negative space you did at the bottom, the contrast, the rule of 30s essentially with the cross. So you have 30% black, you got 30 gray, and then a fuck ton of skin tone. It draws your eye beautifully to that spot. The neck, you did phenomenally. Like super accurate to the photo. You didn't do too much. You actually took a little bit away, which added to the piece. So you did that fucking awesome. With how black you went underneath to emphasize the bottom of the beard, perfect.
Yeah.
And then the hair. I'm looking at the video right now. The hair looks fucking awesome because you run paths rather than just individual hair. So you understand how to do hair.
I haven't.
Dope. The wood grain looks fucking dope. And the neck. Super fucking strong.
Turn it to the center. Just like
I sent another picture where like of the hair, because like that's where that's literally where I use what you learned from Gracie, the shape, bro. And like, bro, it simplifies it so much to where, bro, makes it so much easier.
And now what you can do if you want to push it a little bit more, like in this space right here, that little space right there off the cheek. If you want to add a little bit more detail, now you can just run like essentially feather how you would white, feather some black out of there and just pull it through. It's going to look like a strand of hair rather than a line coming down. You just sneak little details like that in, that will push that from where you have it, which is really good, to that next level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steven.
The hair came out fucking solid.
Steven, what would you say? This dude said he wants like a horror portrait on his elbow, like of Michael Myers on his elbow.
Do you want what I would say or what I think you should say?
I was thinking like, I don't think you'd be able to have as much detail as that what you want having it on the elbow.
That's the route I would go. I would explain to him that you can do it, but it's not an optimal place for that piece. It's never going to look right. There's more situations in real life day to day where that piece is going to look fucked up rather than looking the way you want it to look, essentially. Because the way I'm sitting right now, look at my elbows. Not one time am I sitting here just straight leg, straight arm out. Because you want to place it like this. Majority of the time, whenever you're resting, you're like this. It's the whole face is going to look stretched. So that's like That's the best way I would explain it. I would urge him to go forearm or go bicep, just go a little bit above or a little bit below. It's not gonna look right. It's gonna look fucking funny. That's what I would try to explain to him. And if he really wants to do it, then it's up to you whether or not you want to take him on as a client. Because then it's your choice. If you want to do it or not. Yeah. I'm actually going to hop off. I didn't realize how long we're on here for. That was a good call. I'm sorry again for having a late call today, but I'm happy with it was productive the way that it was. Sunday, if you guys have enough pieces to be critiqued, send them in, and I'm going to critique everybody's, including my own. I'm going to have you guys critique my pieces from now on. All right. So I'm going to throw them in. I want you guys to find the shit. You're going to teach me. You're going to call me out. All right. By you guys finding my mistakes is going to help you find your own as well. All right. Because nobody's fucking perfect in this game. And if you are perfect, you might think you won, but realistically you lost. So can't improve anymore if you're perfect. So with that, I'm going to hop off. I have a call, a one-on-one call after this. So I'm going to hop off. I'm going to see you guys later. And then Sunday, we have a Sunday call. So let's get into that. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Enjoy your day.
Later.